This video will show how we can grab our user ID and assign it to a client-side namespace variable in order to use that for approving invoice line items, for example. So here we have a grid. I've got a number of fields coming from an invoice details table. I've got a button and I've got an empty approved field as well in the table. So let's have a look at our server-side events. Now there are a number of events in here that pass JavaScript, or they have the ability to pass JavaScript commands back to our client side, and untitles row is untitles render is one of them. So we're going to use that. Really can use anything that's appropriate. Not all events have an e.javascript section, so you can look through the details for each row, for each event rather, and it'll detail whether it has this e.javascript. So what we'll do is we'll grab, we'll dimension a username variable. We'll assign that username variable to using the function a5ws get current user. And here I'm just assigning it my name because I don't want to expose my username. That's just for the purposes of this demo video. We don't need this line any longer. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sending back this JavaScript command, which takes our grid object, which is the grid that's living in the client side, and we're assigning a new variable or a new namespace variable to the grid object, which we are allowed to do. And I'm using underbar current username, so that's my variable, and I'm assigning it the value of the username, which in this case will be David, and when I comment that out, it'll be the actual currently logged in username. So this command will be executed back in the client side when onTitle render at the server side is finished doing its job. So that's a very handy way of passing information back to the client. Now on the client side in our button, so every time we click this button, what we're going to do is we're going to access our grid object namespace variable. So David will be assigned to the variable, the JavaScript variable name. We'll figure out what date stuff we want. We'll put it all together, and then we'll just do a set value to our approved field in our grid for the current grid row number that we're on. So, and that's it. That's all we need to do. I've done a couple of other things here. On the approved side, I've hidden the column because you don't want to see it probably if it's been approved, but you do want to indicate that that this line item's been approved. So on the button, I've added a conditional style which says when approved, my approved field is not equal to an empty value, then I'm going to show the button text as green. And as well, for the button, when approved is equal to a blank, I want that button to be enabled. So the inverse will be true. If it's not equal to a blank value, in other words, someone's clicked approved, and there's a value in this approved field, then this button will be disabled. So I can't change it. So once it's been approved, that's it. You can't do anything else to it. And that's just one example of something that you could set up. So let's go ahead and have a look to see how this works. I'm just going to go ahead and publish this. I've already logged in to my site, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and refresh that. So here we have our line items for our invoice. 3 items have been approved. These buttons are not available. They're disabled, so I can't do anything to them. The line items are still available. I can do stuff to that, and that's up to you, to however you want it to work. But I can't reapprove this. Now I can approve this item here. So I'm going to click on approve. You'll see that the button went green. You could automatically save this line item. I haven't done that. So I'm just going to click on save, and you'll notice I can't re-click on that button. Nothing happens there. Let's pop back into the grid I'm going to change this so that it's no longer hidden. I'm going to save it. I'm going to republish it. We'll come back into the grid. There's our approved stuff, and we'll just show how this works. So the button executes. We grab our current value that's in the grid object namespace variable that we created, grab the dates, and we can save that information. Fairly straightforward, and I think probably for what you want to do, it may be a good way to go ahead and go about doing this. Thanks for having a look.